Hey, everybody. It's Gruber Wired. I'm Mark Beach.
I'm John Dotson, and welcome once again to another fun Thursday afternoon.
It's a hot Thursday in Phoenix.
It is. We thought fall might be coming since we're in September, but we're falling down on that idea. I
sound like a broken record every week. I know y'all are sick of it. Well, we're sick of it too. I think there's a reprieve in sight.
We hope so. They're saying what, maybe coming up here shortly? We're going to dip down a little bit?
Well, today is the 101st consecutive 100-degree day, and it is the 56th day, a new record as well for 110 plus.
110 plus. Wow.
We could do a rant just on that.
I know we could. Call it what you want to call it, global warming maybe? Or
no, stop it.
I was just going to say that.
Don't even go. What is wrong with you? Holy cow, man.
Global warming. We'll get you going, Mark.
Okay, all right.
Well, we got to heat things up because we're going to be talking about cooling things down, right?
So sure. Okay,
get you going.
Great segue.
See, there you go.
That's amazing.
Amazing. No, things are going good though. I mean, yes, it's still kind of hot out here in the Phoenix area, and we come to expect that living out here in the Southwest. I mean, it's just normal for us, right? Except it's extending out a little further, and so it'll be here soon. We'll get some relief.
Yep. We're supposed to be looking at 90 degrees on the 16th. So.
Woo, yeah, there we go.
Yep, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, bring it.
Yeah, buddy.
Bring it. So today, our topic we're going to be talking about today is cooling down.
Yeah.
And one of the big factors I think that a lot of us understand in this industry is the equipment is, produces a lot of heat.
Hot heat.
Very hot.
Yep.
And so that's one of the number one killers of the electrical equipment that we're using.
Right. It dries out circuit boards. It dries out the chips.
Correct.
Everything. That heat that does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
So
when you're talking, server rooms, data centers, and so forth, and really the cooling systems are kind of just the bloodline to keep everything in motion, right?
Right. They're the sweat glands.
The sweat glands. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that terminology for this one.
Well, and there's so many new creative ways that they're doing it too. There's what you would expect, traditional technology, air conditioning, airflow, things like that, which we help with, with our mini cables and whatnot. But also now we're seeing Emergent cooling really come to the forefront. It's been around for about 10 years, but the technology has evolved to the point where there's adoption now that's pretty significant.
Yeah, there is. And we've actually done some podcasting on this before on that particular subject matter.
Right.
Of the immersion cooling and using dielectric cabling and so forth.
Right.
You just brought up a good point. Can you bring up our website, Jesse, and pull up the Mini 6 cable? One of the benefits and what they've done is reducing the footprint on the Mini 6 cable. That's a Category 6 cable in a 28 gauge. And what this does is it allows for smaller cable bundles, just as you were referring to, right? So that in your setup, we can help contribute to the cooling factor through the use of these materials.
Right, better airflow because there's less matter.
It's less mass. I mean, the density of your cable bundle get quite smaller with that. They're about 30% smaller and thinner than a regular standard Category 6 cable.
Which, when there's a ton of cables, that can be pretty significant. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so there are some things that, as far as infrastructure-wise goes, it's out here in the industry that they're working on and reducing it. Like this is 33% slimmer jacket size, right? That's huge. In the bundling facilities.
Right. And, say pretty much same data transmission rates. It's just that the distance is a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
But you don't need distance for jumpers.
No.
So, if you're going from, a switch to a patch panel or patch panel to a, wall, or into a bundle and out, those are really the way to go.
They are.
They're not going to... I think it's something like 96 meters before the attenuation starts. So
I believe it's right around in there.
Yeah.
It might be a little less than that, but needless to say, either way, it is just a direct benefit to have in your setup. Running a cable bundle that's much smaller in size. So
they're cheaper to ship too.
Yeah, they
50% lighter.
And they come in a rainbow of colors.
They do. Just not, even though it shows it there, not brown. Not brown, not lime right now. They're not.
Yeah, sometimes those colors are a little bit.
They're
obscure.
special. We have to. There's MOQ for that. But I mean, we can get it, but you got to want a lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know, something else we can talk about on some of our products here. If you want to pull up a 4-post rack, we do manufacture open frame racks.
Yes.
Right. And one of the benefits of using an open frame rack versus a cabinet is airflow.
Right.
Of course, it's open framed. So when you get into a scenario where you're working and you're having, have to take a look at your server room itself, this might be an option to go with an open frame rack to help, produce that airflow throughout the entire facility of that room.
Right. Right. Yep. And people use these a lot in like smaller confined spaces because they can just run air straight through the whole room without it being super expensive.
Correct.
And that way you don't have to force air through a closed frame rack. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't have to add fans. I mean, there's a lot of benefits using an open frame rack in your server, scenario. Now, something like this might not be as ideal. It depends on, on the setup that you're looking for, and how large a facility that you're looking to have as far as a server room goes.
Is that price a typo, or are we selling them? Do we have them on sale?
Yeah, that's that. I'm not sure. We'll
that's
take a look
sale.
at that.
I think that's a sale price there. That $356.
Look at that. Yeah, that's a pretty good price on that.
That's a really good price. I mean, yeah, go shop it. That's a great price for a 4-post rack.
Yeah, great price, great quality.
Yep.
American
USA
made.
Yep.
There we go. So there's some options, a few examples of what we have in our inventory, and we have many, many different options out there available. If you need fans, for instance, we can have access to those as well.
Right.
So we can pretty much take care of what your needs are for your server room.
Hey, if you wanted to put LED light strips on there, you could do that. Pretty cheap.
Yeah, bling it out.
Yeah, that's it.
A little bling bling. Just wanted to give you some examples of some of our products that will help with the airflow scenarios that you're working with. And so now talking more about different types of settings, small closets and server rooms. We have a video, that number 1 video, I believe, is of a small closeted server room, right?
Okay.
That we're going to show you here. And this is kind of an emergency scenario. It should be number 1, I believe.
The first video. It's a link.
So I have both of them up. I just don't know which one was first because I closed the email. Hold on.
It's the one that's got the portable blower.
The climate change in the server room one?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay.
Climate change again. Look at this guy.
I don't know,
warming.
man. I don't know.
So here we go. This happened to be a temporary fix for a moment in somebody's server room. Look at that.
Yeah, I've seen those units in operation before in other scenarios, but yeah, I mean, you can't let the equipment get hot.
No, you can't. So when you got a situation where something like your AC unit goes down, and you need to cool it down, this is one quick way to get that done.
Yep. At 19 degrees Celsius.
What it appears to be.
See, what I didn't understand, there was a label on there on that unit that says unit must be earthed.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And I think they meant grounded.
It could be grounded, Maybe this is an overseas video.
I think it was hilarious.
But anyway, just to show that when in a pinch, there are some different things out there and tools that you have to cool that down until you can get it fixed.
Yeah.
But that was definitely a smaller room. So you can see there, you had the racks and they were kind of open faced to help with the airflow in that small confined space.
Right.
But that's something you got to take a look at when you're dealing with is the space that you're in.
Right.
Because not all airflow is going to geographically flow appropriately the way you figure it would in a certain space, especially when you put up a rack or an obstacle in the normal flow.
Right.
So you really might have to help that out a little bit.
Sure.
Yep.
So.
But really, what you want to do is think about preventing the overheating, because that's really, what we're talking about is that heating up in that equipment. And the equipment gets pretty hot. I don't know if you've noticed that before.
Definitely. I mean, I've built server rooms, so definitely a consideration when, we're doing all that. When they do a lot of build outs for businesses, if you have a server room, you typically would want, 2 AC units pumping in there. It's
Well, even ours, we had a scenario not too long ago where we had an issue with airflow in ours, and our AC actually, I believe, went down for a moment in time over the weekend, I believe it was. And it was critical for us to get back in and get those temperatures dropped back down rather quickly.
I think it got up to like 100 in the server room. You're supposed to keep them 68 to 72.
Yeah. So we got up over 100 that day?
Yeah,
we were lucky on that one then.
Mm-hmm.
But I do remember it was quite a bit of work for them to do the repair and make their necessary adjustments to get that fixed too. So,
well, everything in that box generates heat. Your power supply, your drives, your board, they all generate heat. So, got to go somewhere.
Yeah, and so, and that's the other thing we talk about too is dissipating that heat. There's different ways to do that. As we take a look at things, and the technology to do so is changing. Right. We talked about the dielectric cabling, the submersible, and we got a video of that as well, correct?
Right. Yeah, dielectric fluid. So, this typically was first really being used in the crypto mining.
That's right.
Setups.
Here we go.
It did a lot of sound mitigation, so it's not as noisy because all of it's. It's not like big blowers blowing. It's all underwater. And
here we go.
This is the part that still blows my mind.
Look at that.
Right? You see the cables and it goes against everything you would think. You'd be like, underwater? What's going on? But it's not water.
No.
It's a dielectric fluid. And what that means, dielectric means it doesn't conduct electricity.
Correct. So it's not
there's no shorting. Yeah, there's no shorting or anything like that. Now, all that bubbling is because it's hot. And so in these types of systems, what will happen is the gas from it, when there's usually probably a top on there, and the gas gets pumped into, kind of like a still, it cools it down, turns it back into liquid, and gets pumped back in there. So that's called like a 2-stage.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. It's pretty neat.
So they're seeing some changes in technology to help with the cooling of those materials.
Yeah. It's and this is a real picture of a server room. This is not an AI generated image. So
look how nice and neat those cables look.
Yeah.
Love it.
That is the picture I sent. I did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure.
Hello, Highlander. How are you today? Hopefully everything's going well for you there, buddy.
Yes. Please. What was that?
So one of the, I don't know, a glitch. So, again, smaller scenarios, right? You're looking at multiple air conditioning split systems and things like that.
Right.
When you get into larger systems, you're talking, like data centers themselves. And quite honestly, one of the biggest, the most money spent is in cooling, right? Once you get everything into place for those data centers, a data center will use more water than a lot of municipalities and residentials, within cities. It's just amazing how much water is used for cooling.
Yeah, they use the chiller type systems. Yeah.
And so the setup there is a lot different, though, because you'll have these massive rooms like this, right?
Yeah.
And typically you'll see some that have graded flooring. So you have raised flooring.
Right.
And they're pumping this air, the cool air underneath, and then it's coming through the raised flooring up and through the rack systems itself. Right. And what happens is heat rises. So it's pushing that heat upwards.
Right.
Into a return that will take that out and exit the heat and then bring back in cool,
air.
Cool air. There you go. Sorry, caught me off guard there.
Or like we were talking about in a previous podcast, you could just set up a server room in like Iceland, right?
Well, I know that we actually do some work with some companies overseas in the Netherlands, right? And they're taking shipping containers and using these shipping containers to build their data centers out of.
Right.
And then they're submersing them in the ocean down to the bottom on the ocean floor. This is for cooling purposes. That's the whole reason why they're doing it.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's just crazy. We could do a whole podcast on that. That'd be a fun topic to touch one day.
Yeah, I have no idea how that happens.
So, yeah.
What do they do? Like, they're airtight?
Yeah, they make them airtight, or water sealed, so they're not going to be leaking.
Right. And they just pump the water across tubes that go into the inside and back out.
I don't even think they do that. It's so cold down at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
That coldness just, I'd have to do some more research on it, but I know that this is taking place because we're selling products that go into the manufacturing of these.
Gotcha.
I can't go into too much detail from there,
right?
But I know it's taking place.
You could tell us, but then you'd have to kill me. Yeah.
Then maybe I should tell you. So yeah, there's some things that are going on as far as technology goes, and using the natural resources that we have out there to help with cooling down these data centers and so forth.
Makes sense. I mean, like you said, it's a huge expense.
It's probably the
biggest
expense.
A lot of the electricity goes into the cooling of.
Well, if you think about it, we all experience this at home too, with just smaller electronics heating up and so forth. You could simply go home tonight and just go to the back and put your hand on the back of your television that you've been watching for an hour and a half. Even though this is smaller LED TVs and so forth, they still get hot.
Right.
You still have that buildup of heat.
Right.
Coming off those electronics.
Well,
imagine that on a huge scale.
Right. And your computer at home, so it's all about the fans, the case fans, the CPU fans.
Yeah.
The GPU fans. They all push the air out, constantly pushing it out, the warm air out, so that cool air can come in the sides.
Yeah, and then there's scenarios I was just reading here where they're talking about aisle air conditioning. So they're arranging the cabinets and racks in aisles, kind of like this aisle that we have here going down, right? And then they're able to force that airflow through that it becomes like a large air duct, basically.
Right.
So they're able to take and flow that cool air down through there to get through the racking systems.
Okay.
So it all really depends on the design and setup of what they're looking to do.
Right.
It's going to determine how you want your airflow and capability to take place. And then within the racks and cabinets themselves, like we were talking earlier, you have individual fans. So that will also help dissipate that heat.
So if anybody has any comments, feel free to share. We're here live, so we can take live questions right now if you've got any. Highlander liked the video clip.
Yeah. It's kind of cool little clips we went out there and found.
Question for Mark.
Yeah.
What were you working on with the Emergent stuff? How are we going to help with that?
So, good question. So actually, Harry has a customer who was in experiencing with the data cabling with the RJ45s that they would have to replace them every 60 days or so because they were getting brittle.
Yeah.
When being inside in the dielectric fluid, and the material that the cable was made out of was leaching its own chemical bonds. So it was breaking down the chemical bonds from inside from the cable jacket, right?
Yeah.
And he's got a cable solution for them. It's all probably quadruple the cost of a regular cable. But the jacketing doesn't, so far they're almost a year in, doesn't break down.
No leaching, nothing.
Doesn't break down.
So after a year of that particular cable.
So think of this. So if you experience that problem with the leaching, then the cable gets brittle. They have to be replaced every 60 days. That means you have to take your server down. You have to drain the tank. You have to replace the cables, and then you have to bring it all back up.
Wow.
Right?
So we were able to find and go ahead and produce a cable that could actually last going on a year now.
Right.
And we still haven't had no issues with that cable.
So far, so good.
So far. No, knock on wood on that one.
Yeah. So yeah,
So that's cool.
right.
Yeah, that's
And-
good stuff. Saving money. I mean, who doesn't like save money?
Well, and it's still kind of an emerging technology, even though they've been around for about 10 years. And there's open source documents that talk about the chemical reactions of different components within the server itself. So the chips, the gaskets and seals, every piece of, whatever kind of rubber, plastic is going to be immersed, and what the type of reactions are, what the best types of dielectric fluids are to use in those environments
Sure.
with those types of materials. So that's where, we kind of came in. It's no small expense, because we're talking
No.
about, they were replacing 1,500 cables every 2 months.
2 months.
Right.
That's insane. Is that D's? Is that how that's pronounced?
He clarified
Deionized.
deionized.
Oh,
yeah.
deionized. Okay, I see there.
No,
No,
I don't know what
I
it
don't
is,
believe
but
deionized water would work in that scenario, would it?
no,
distilled
deionized water
yeah.
is still not, it's not dielectric.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's still going to allow current flow.
correct.
So that's bad. That's not good, unfortunately.
Right.
I forget the names of, because we did a show on this, and I forget the names of the materials that were used in that.
The types of liquids?
Yeah.
The ether
The
based.
ether based.
Right. And then there's a the fluorocarbon based.
Or that's it.
Yep.
Fluorocarbon. Yep.
Right. So, but there's even more than that. And, but those, there's no known chemistry. Obviously, it's all chemistry.
Yeah.
So they've done an experimentation with different types of jacketing, different types of rubbers, and there's all this open source material from a conference or a consortium of industry experts from, Shell Oil to some of the companies that actually do immersion cooling. So they formed panels
Sure.
to study the effects on these materials, and figuring out that PVC is going to break down, but it's man, I'm going to forget the name right now. The type of jacketing is a PUR, polyurethane jacketing.
Polyurethane. Okay.
Yeah,
That actually makes sense. Then
Yep.
I was thinking that.
yep. And then there's another type of jacketing that would also work. That is essentially, it is Teflon.
Okay.
But it's the chemical term for it. But it's Teflon. And it's,
that's on the outer jacket
right.
to be
correct.
used in this. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah. So very cool stuff, still getting it right, still trying to figure it out. But, it's one of the things coming here and working at Gruber that I've learned. It kind of blew my mind when Harry first told me what he was looking for and what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you smoking, man? I mean, it's like, what,
But this is a cool thing.
putting it in liquid?
But people come to us with this
Right.
all the time.
100%.
And it gives us a great opportunity to be able to not only educate ourselves, but educate the customer as well.
Right.
And
right.
then being able to come up with a service, come up with a product, and just kind of take that step forward and solve the problem for them.
And we're exposed to these new things all the time.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really cool stuff. We talked about before all the emerging technology with fiber,
Yeah.
right? And the higher density stuff, and how they're able to fit, 1,724 fibers or 28 fibers in a cable now, and they're doing,
Sure.
the 144 by 12 ribbon fibers, right? So,
And that's the thing we talk about. We are talking about cooling, right?
right.
And we talked about to category 6 and then changing that down to a mini 6 and changing that footprint to the
Right.
28 gauge. But gosh, look at the footprint of fiber.
Yeah.
Want to talk about some airflow capabilities? Look at your fiber bundles that are coming
Well,
out.
and there's no heat generated in that process
No,
either,
there's
because
not.
right,
It's all light.
right.
So you
Correct.
don't have that particular issue in that scenario.
Right.
Simply from the cabling itself.
correct. And and the density really lends itself to the environment. Data rate transmission thing, the 10 gig standard going up to a 40 gig standard,
Yeah.
really makes it so much more efficient Can't choose which one of the hats I like better.
Here you go.
That's funny.
Yeah. So here's something else too about the, our racking equipment and so forth. We use powder coating, right?
Right.
So not only
Isn't that a sore subject? You really want to talk about that?
No, it's okay. It's a great product, right?
It's all right.
It's durable.
All right.
It's great. But the other thing about that is one of the other killers that we don't talk about enough is dust.
Yeah.
And powder coating really does actually propel the dust. It doesn't hold the dust.
Right.
So that's one of the benefits of using powder coating. Just wanted to bring that up. We're talking about, things that will get into your system and cause havoc.
Right.
Especially if you're dealing with fiber. Dust is going to be a big enemy in that scenario.
Can be if you're, but the ends are sealed. I mean,
they should be, but I'm telling you what, how many times I get a call from a customer and said, well, we're having a bit of issue here. So just take time, clean that end,
Right.
They had a little bit of dust on there.
Get the little dust off.
Yep. Dust it off and plug it back in. You're good to go.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Highlander, we are seeing the exact same thing in programmable logic controller world as far as cabling goes.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha. That's pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar with programmable logic controller world. I have to look that up. Are you familiar with that at all?
Well, I'm thinking that he's talking about like, so controllers that might work motors.
Okay.
So they're controllers that are programmable, obviously.
Yeah.
That operate equipment like those. I mean, my brother used to be in the electrical motor industry. He is an engineer. And so there were programmable controllers that operated those, but there could also be programmable controllers for AC units, right?
Gotcha.
I would imagine, yeah.
Cool. I was learning something new from Highlander too.
Yeah.
So
feel free to elaborate while we're on the air here if you want to dig into that a little bit before we jump off.
Also, we released a new short, right?
We did.
Yeah, and it's getting some pretty good hits on there.
Like
views,
gangbusters,
so,
man.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Gosh, you want to play that really quick for us, Jesse?
I don't know if I have the audio. Let me see if I can figure it out.
It's an audio
it's
thing,
audio
remember?
issue.
Yeah. No, they should just go watch it. That way we
go
get the
watch it.
views.
Yeah, well, they'll get the views too, and leave a like and comment.
Leave a like. Please comment. Be nice.
That's right.
Yeah.
Subscribe, share, like it all.
And we're going to have some more new shorts coming as well. Hopefully we'll go back, get some stuff from the old podcast, maybe do some new stuff.
Yeah, we'll come up with some new stuff.
Yeah, we'll work on some material and try and make it relevant to please the powers.
You know what? We should mention that out there. You know what? For those of you who are watching us and do join us from time to time, hey, if you have an idea, please let us know.
Yeah.
We'd love to do a show based upon your thoughts, and take a look at that and see what we can do for you there.
Yep.
You can even have you on the show. I mean, there's some things we can do, right?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
Maybe, maybe Hawktua Girl we'd have on here. I don't know. We'd do that.
Yeah. Highlander said, you just nailed little factory computers. Oh, they are. Gotcha. Ellen Brady Siemens and Mitsubishi are probably the world's largest next to whatever the Chinese come up with open today. But yeah, they're just little programmable ABC computers, and that's what I do. I program.
Nice.
Okay. Very cool.
There we go. Now we know a little bit more. See,
we learned a little bit more about Highlander.
Highlander is like an onion. We peel him back layer by layer every podcast.
Yes.
We appreciate that.
Yeah. It's kind of that little bit of a tease there every time he comes on.
There we go.
So that's
All
very
right.
cool. Gosh, we're almost at the end of the show here. What another great week it's been.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate all the work you do for us there.
Likewise.
In the office. We have a lot
It
going
was a
on.
busy month.
Yeah. We had a really great month this past month.
Yeah. Yeah, it was busy.
Yeah. So, and a shout out to all of our crews here at Gruber.
Absolutely.
You guys really do a great job. You work your butts off every day.
You know, it's all about the customer at the end of the day. And, you can go on Amazon and buy a cable. You can. I mean, that's just the reality of it, right?
Yeah.
But the service and support you'll get, the knowledge, the industry expertise you'll get from getting a Gruber cable, you will not see. Not on Amazon, not on eBay, nowhere.
No.
You'll get it with us.
And don't forget, our products come with a lifetime warranty.
Lifetime
we never talk
warranty.
about that enough.
No, and it's
But
true.
it's true. It does. We offer
American
lifetime
made.
because we know what you want, what we're doing. We know how to help you.
They're all tested before they leave here. Everything.
Yeah.
It's, it's good stuff.
If you're ever in the area too, I'd like to invite you over for a site tour. We would be glad to show you what we can do for you as well. And even if you're not in the industry and you want to come take a look at what we have to offer, we'll give you a tour as well, right?
Yeah, maybe, John can start setting up tours, he'll be the tour guide. Have Tuesdays at 5:00, we'll do facility tours now.
Yeah. So
Oh, somebody's calling you and telling you that's a bad idea.
I got a spam risk is what it is. So, hey,
all right.
Thank everyone once again for joining us. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for being here. And for now, I'm Mark Beach.
I'm John Dotson, and thank you once again.
Ciao.